it reaches a point where it's like so toxic. Anyways, guys, the cops come.
Wait, on their own?
So I called them, but I don't know if I want to say that.
Wait, why not?
Because, like, I'm a loser. I'm calling the cops.
Hilarious.
I say that?
Yeah.
Chemical X.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Chemical X podcast.
I'm your girl, Deandra, also known as Alessia.
And I'm Veronica. And today we are joined by a very special, our tiniest guest yet, Milo, my nephew. If you're listening on audio, he's a dog.
He's the cutest dog.
Absolutely the cutest dog, and I won't let anybody tell me otherwise.
I just want to know, did you wear pink today because you were going to be like the legally blonde girl with the really cute dog?
It wasn't an intentional decision, but I think life just happens that way.
Wow.
And it's just in me. It
Right.
just comes naturally. You know what I mean?
Anyway.
Should we talk about that? I always said I fucking hate small dogs and I only want a big dog. And now I love you so much.
It's the cutest.
He's the cutest. He's sick, guys. So if you're seeing him literally
Wasted.
blackout drunk in my arms, it's because he has an ear infection. No, he's literally like hanging
He's
up
falling asleep.
People are going to go animal abuse, whatever's happening in that home.
Now that we, presented him, let him sleep, poor dog.
Yeah, he made his debut. He's
Oh my God.
been a while in hair and makeup. He's a bit tired.
So today's this episode is a really cool episode. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Guys, we are officially a registered business.
Oh my God, yeah, it's true.
How do you feel? No different, eh? By the way?
Zero. You know what? I actually feel more pissed because I was the one who had to do all the annoying phone calls and forms. And I wouldn't say too soon that we're a registered business because I would not be surprised if the police show up at my door and say, you wrote something wrong and you're under arrest.
We probably did do something wrong.
1,000,000%, by the way. Every time I fill out a form and the only option is to do it in French, I say, look, I know French, but I didn't learn the type of French that is these forms. Like, I don't know legal French. And I want you to know that there's multiple things I did incorrectly.
Veronica, it's not a test where it's like multiple choice and then like we get 70 but we still pass. Like,
this is like jail.
this is like our life is.
This is in 1 year when we like have to do our taxes and then they start saying, wait, why does it say? And I'm gonna be like, you know what?
Yeah,
never mind.
I think we just had no choice at this point on to register ourselves because now, like, we're finally a year and a half in. We're starting to, make a little bit of money, guys.
I wouldn't say profit, but I would say some change.
I would say like enough to know that like this is maybe going somewhere.
Enough to know. Well, I'll tell you, just to put into perspective what kind of money we're making is Alessia bought herself Starbucks and not me. So we're still at like the one Starbucks per person level of income. You know what I mean?
Can I actually tell you the honest truth with the Starbucks and why I didn't ask you? Because Veronica wanted me here at like 8:00 and I was showing up really late.
Yeah,
and with a Starbucks. So I'm like, I'm just going to drink the Starbucks. I don't want her to know that like I even stopped,
Disrespectful.
But then I was like, I really want the coffee. So am I going to like get judged by not bringing... you don't win either way. If I would
Actually, I think you would have kind of won if you brought me a coffee.
Wow. I'm going to Uber Eats you one right now.
Do you not even think about it? Like, if you're going to show up with a coffee, at least make it better by saying, well, I got you one.
I normally do though.
Anyways, we're going to fight.
So yeah, that's exciting for us.
Yeah, I mean, we're
one
registered.
Step closer, I guess, to something.
Something.
I think, you know what, we're still going to come out at the bottom when it's time to fill out our taxes. I think we're going to owe money or something.
I don't know. I think it's all gone wrong.
That's the thing with taxes.
I think it started going wrong when they said you have to put your name in French and it started being podcast chimique.
No.
Or actually, better yet, I was on the phone with the bank when we were opening up our bank account because, to store our Starbucks money. And he goes, so you started a podcast? I'm like, yeah. He's like, that's really cool. It's you guys do some kind of like you rate chemicals, like rare
We're changing our name.
I was like, look, comedy. And if you're a scientist, you're into any sort of chemicals, do not listen to my podcast. Like, I got news for you. Like, it's not what you think it is. I know you think you picked up a McGill student, but
so
it's not.
What's our name in French now?
Podcast Chimique X.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, bye. Anyway, so we're here, we're registered. So with that being said, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment down below.
If you guys are listening on Apple Music and Spotify, then don't forget to rate us 5 stars. Don't forget to leave a comment and let us know what you'd like to hear next.
Yeah. So let's get into this. I just want to start off by saying my boyfriend's aunt was so kind to give us one of those like Halloween chocolate boxes that has like all the mini chocolates in it, which
That's golden.
before I say, do you prefer like the mini ones or the full size chocolate bar? Do you know what I mean?
They taste different. So anyone who
that's
says
what
they
I'm saying.
taste the same,
They do not taste the same.
they do not taste the same. I think mini, it's more exciting. Because you can have like 6 of them and you
have to
you don't
choose.
open like big chocolate bars and start eating all of them. But like
Yeah.
you can have all of them when you're having the small ones.
Like I actually think the big ones taste better, but like enjoyment wise,
So true.
I think the small ones are more fun.
So true.
Speaking about that, so she was really kind and she gave us one of her boxes.
That's really nice.
I know. And so my boyfriend's
Because
like,
it's not really something you go and buy yourself.
it just appears in your house, you know?
Like I only get it after Halloween because it's 50% off.
1,000,000%. So my boyfriend loves chocolate and he's like eating out of the box and whatever. And I'm like, slow down there, buddy. And he's like, babe, don't worry. He's like, I'll save you all the Smarties.
Smarties.
And I'm like, what the fuck? What do I look like? The garbage can?
No.
Smarties. Like, are you fucking kidding me? The Smarties?
Tell them what was in the pack too.
I mean, there's gold in that pack. There's
Kit
Arrow, Kit Kat. I mean, I don't love Coffee Crisp, but anything is better than a
love
Smartie.
Coffee Crisp.
Anything is better than a Smartie.
That's actually the worst one in the box.
But it's him being like, babe, I'll leave you all the Smarties. Like,
No.
If I was
Like, he's
Value
doing you
Village,
a-
I would drop off the Smarties at Value Village. Like, what am I, the secondhand store
No.
that I'm gonna take your what you didn't want goes to me? Pass me the fucking Kit Kat.
And guys, this is how arguments start.
Absolutely.
So when you guys argued, did the person downstairs call the cops or how did that go?
So guys, this episode is about all our favorite toxic behaviors that have happened in our lives and in our relationships. And I will start by saying my boyfriend and I, we rival each other on who could be crazier.
For sure.
We're in a loving, amazing relationship. And
when
you know
it's
what?
good.
You know what? Those are the ones that they're the craziest ones.
Yeah.
Because when
Because
we
you
fight,
feel comfortable
Yeah.
enough to show them all your sides.
Babe, you see that knife? I have no problem whipping it
And it's
off.
always like, who can take it further? You know what I mean? It's like,
But it's
if you
because-
threw a plate, you can't throw a plate next time. You have to tell them that this time I'm even more mad.
Yeah.
So give me the chainsaw. Like,
No, it's every fight is a worse thing. And then it starts being like, okay, well, I actually
you're
don't wanna fight.
gambling each time.
It's like I'm gonna start to have to buy things just to break them within a fight because now it's like I don't know where to level up. You know what I mean? But no, me and my boyfriend, we get pretty crazy when we're mad. We're both very like hot-headed in the sense where we're big yellers, like screamers. You know, like when I yell, I fucking yell, and he could yell as well. But we always fight at 3 a.m., which to everyone else in my building's dismay, you know, kind of sucks.
Wow. I would not want to be
We're-
living where you guys are.
So for the longest time,
I mean, at least there's a pattern. Like,
Yeah.
for me, like when I was with my ex, it was like it could happen at 11 a.m., 11 p.m., 3 a.m. Like there was no like time schedule. At least they know, like, let me get out of the house.
3 a.m. Yeah.
You know?
It's because I'll tell you why it happens like that. Because sometimes something will happen and I'll be pissed about it all day. But like once it's like bedtime, like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and he hasn't spoken to me about it yet, that's when I pull out the guns. And that's when he's not ready to pull out the guns. So that's where the fight starts.
Right.
And for a long time, I actually thought that we had really good like soundproofing in my house because I never heard anyone, and I just figured like we're good. Like people don't hear us when we're screaming, or else, you know, the cops would have been called already.
Yeah.
And then one day I'm literally in my house and I hear like something like literally a phone drop upstairs, and I'm like, no, like clearly, like I heard, like I was hearing the footsteps too.
You
I
even
was
knew like what iPhone fell.
I knew iPhone
The
6S, iPhone 6S, like Siri, even like I heard Siri from here, and I was like, okay.
Oh
Not
my
only do
God.
they hear us fighting, but they know every single fight, every reason why.
You know what? I think I'd love to live on top. I would be
You got
living
the juice.
I would get the juice. Oh
You
my
don't need
God.
to pay for TV.
If I was living on top of you, I wouldn't even have to ask you what happened with your fights. I'd just be like, Veronica, let me know when you want to talk about it.
1,000,000%. And you'd be like, I'm on your side, obviously. I don't even need to re-say the story. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know about
you know
that.
what I should start doing? You know when it starts being the fight of like who said what? I should call my neighbors and be like, do you remember what he said about this? Because I know you could hear.
Yeah.
So what did he say?
Yeah. Oh
I
my
gotta
God.
call the audience option here.
For sure.
Anyways, so we're very loud, and I figured out that they can actually hear us. And progressively, like you said, it gets louder and louder. And it's like I'm always like, okay, this is the time they're calling the cops because it's 3 a.m. and we're yelling and we're slamming doors. You know what I mean? Like, this is the time.
Yeah.
And they never do.
I don't think they care about you that
And
much.
I think I realized that they don't give a fuck.
No.
Like I could be my thing is like, okay, somebody's coming in my house and killing me, and I've got them so accustomed to this yelling that they're not saving me. They're not calling no fucking police. I'm dead.
Wow. I can't even say the same thing for me when I was with my me in the past. I'm sorry. I've gotten into fights in the apartment, and people upstairs have like literally gone on their balconies and said, if you guys don't stop, we're gonna call the cops. Like, so listen,
I guess people care about you.
People care about me.
That's crazy. People don't
Or
care
they
about
think
me.
I'm dying, so they're like, let me help this poor girl.
Well, the funniest thing is because we all take the back entrance and we're only 3 units. So like I know the people downstairs and I know the people upstairs.
Right.
And the funniest thing is the next morning when I have to walk down the
Oh,
stairs.
it's the worst.
And I have to see the couple that lives
It's the worst.
downstairs. And we have to make eye contact. And it's just like they don't know what kind of relationship is going on. And I'm just like, look, leave me alone.
No. And then even me, like the neighbor who was always there, like I remember once I was in the elevator with him the next morning, and I'm like, I know, I hate him too. I'm not coming back here. I know. I'm so sorry. But trust me, it's his fault. It's not mine. I literally almost want to break the silence by just saying, I'm aware.
No.
I'm so sorry.
Sometimes I want to be like, hey, I know you guys hear me. Like, but I think they're actually scared of me.
Well, I would be too.
Like, I actually think they're afraid of me because every time I go downstairs and we cross paths, they're very like, and I'm like, look,
But
whatever
you know
you
what?
heard, it doesn't
But you know
apply
what?
to you.
I've seen you scream it in action. I think I'd be
Very
scared
scary.
too. Like, because you're really like,
It's because
you're like a Latina when you fight. Like, I wouldn't want to fuck with you.
it's like I don't get mad till I'm mad, and I'm like really mad. Like
Yeah.
now I'm for real mad. Like I'm not for fun.
Like, I'm like all talk, I'll scream, and then I think like I'll just like lock myself in the bathroom. Don't talk to me. Like you're gonna break the door down because you're gonna
1,000,000%.
watch me while I yell at you.
You better look in my eyes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
oh my God. So let's talk about some crazy fucked up stories, guys. I'll start. I have one. I'll like lighten the mood.
I think my mood was pretty light. Nobody fucking cares about me. How much lighter could it get?
So, oh my God, I have so many stories, but
My
one
life
that's-
is so toxic.
no, but like, no, now I'm good. Now
Now
I'm
you're
like,
good.
now I'm toxic alone.
Yeah, you're the toxic one on your own.
Oh my God. But before I had somebody to blame it on, now it's all me, baby. So I was actually in Florida and I was staying at my ex's grandmother's place, which is like a really luxurious, nice condo building. So the way it works there, it's like everyone is like a little bit older, I would say, mature, rich. And then there's like me walking in there, ratchet, wanting all the perks of this condo.
1,000,000%.
And the way it works is when you get to the condo and the elevator opens, it's like penthouse vibe. So there's no
Hallway.
hallway.
Yeah.
It's like you open up at the elevator and then you're there.
Yeah.
So let's say somebody's coming down. Normally, like you can, if it so happens you're clicking the button and you're going down, like, and your apartment opens, then they're seeing your place.
Wow.
Because
It's all safe.
there's actually like a door that you could kind of close and you could make it your kind of entrance, but nobody really does
Yeah.
because you're leaving, you're going out. So
Yeah.
like it's all open concept.
Yeah.
So imagine living like in a place where it's like penthouse style, you're arguing and like, you know what I mean? It takes one person to be coming down. So I got in a huge fight with my ex-boyfriend at the time. Guys, it was toxic. There was fights. Some of them were my fault. Some of them weren't. This one, I will say, was not my fault, even though some would say not. I can't remember exactly what the fight was about, but I think like I went through his phone and I saw he put a fire emoji.
I'm hearing it's your fault, but whatever. Continue.
No. I went through his phone and I saw that he put like a fire emoji to somebody I had known. And the worst part about this is I'm going through his phone while he's sleeping because he's like wasted, knocked out. And I'm like, you're always looking for something, you know, if you're going to go through, you're not going to
find something.
You better find something. And the worst part about the fire was like the story was no longer there. So what are you putting fire to?
Was it, a fish fillet or
was it a fish fillet or a, fish fillet?
Fish fillet. Was it a melon or was it a pair of melons?
You know what I mean? So angry now. I'm like, because I think the worst thing about like seeing something like that is you want to know the truth. But now at this point, we're so toxic in our relationship. Even if he put a fire to a girl's story, like I'm never going to know because he's never going to admit it. Right. So every time something like that would happen, I would get angry because I feel like when you never know for sure, it always keeps you on edge. You know what I mean? But like I always assume the worst. So for me, it was like wake that guy up, start a fight, like
over a fire emoji.
Over a fire emoji. But we agree.
I'm gonna leave you alone on this one.
What do you mean? If somebody's putting a fire emoji to like a girl you kind of know, but like
I know what you mean, but like
I already embarrassed myself. So if it was a food thing, then fair. But if it wasn't, then I let out my anger and I let you know that you can't do that. You can't like do food. That. You know what I mean? So we get in a huge argument now, and like people are like, I'm sure hearing this, and it reaches a point where it's like so toxic. Anyways, guys, the cops come.
Wait, on their own?
So I called them, but I don't know if I want to say that.
Wait, why not?
Because like I'm a loser. I'm calling the cops.
Hilarious.
I say that? Yeah. Like, I don't want people to think they're going to date me and I'm going to call the cops. Please, you have to say it. Okay. So at this point on, I'm like, we're fighting it. Guys, it's getting really crazy. Like, I'm throwing, like the Malteser chocolate. This is a luxury condo. Like we were kind enough to get this condo, and now we forgot how to be grateful because now we're fucking destroying it. I'm starting to throw fucking chocolates. I start off easy though. You start with plates. I'm nice. I start with chocolates. Very easy to dodge.
Paintball. You catch them with your mouth.
Like I'm angry, and then like we start throwing shit. It starts getting really crazy, and then I lock myself in the bathroom, and he's like freaking out. It's this whole thing, and then I'm like, I'm gonna call the cops. Like, guys, we were wasted. Also, it was a whole situation. Okay. I called the cops, but then it was like one of those things like I threatened him with the cops, but wasn't actually going to call the cops. But like I was doing like that look, I'm doing it. And then
911.
And then I did it, but like I wasn't actually going to say, I was going to hang up just to like, not scare him, but scare him. Toxic.
Well, I have a question for you.
Yes.
When you called the cops, did you say 911, there's a fire? In my boyfriend's DMs. And then when they showed up, how did you explain that the fire was not real?
Veronica, you have no idea. So I hung up. So at this point on, I'm like, okay, perfect. Like no cops are showing up. Like I wasn't actually calling the cops. Like chill. Okay. I'm over the fight. I screamed at you. Whatever you fucking did, you put a fire. I'm over it. You know what I mean? So now at this point on, we're still fighting. Don't get me wrong. We're still fighting. All of a sudden, because we're in the penthouse and there's no like, knock, knock, I'm here. All of a sudden, the door's open. Who's there? The cops. Baloney. There's no hurry. Like, it's in. I don't ever want to get to that stage where I'm rich enough where I lose my privacy, because that is invasion of privacy.
That's like
it's very like I'm in the middle of throwing a chocolate and I look to my right and I'm like, hi.
I was just making popcorn.
No. So then the cops come and they're like, okay, guys, like, calm down. There was also complaints. There was both. I think they had called front desk and like people were also complaining. It was a bit of like everything.
Yeah.
And when they came,
You really got people who care
it was
about
very
you.
like, I was still hating him. I'm like, whatever. And then he was like, oh, guys, like, calm down. Looking at me going, do you have another place to stay tonight, guys? You guys drank, like, it's not the environment now. I don't think you guys should stay in the same place together. I think you should definitely leave and talk about this tomorrow in the morning. And me, I'm like, I agree. Like, now I'm like, he's going to pay for what he did. And now it's going to look even worse. So I'm packing my stuff and I'm leaving. He's like, do you have another place to go? I'm like, yeah, my condo, but it ain't that nice. It ain't like this.
And do I have the keys?
I do, but do I want to go there? Nuh-uh. So now I'm like doing the whole fake, I'm packing my bag and I'm leaving because I can't do this. And the cops agree with me, But now my boyfriend at the time is like, well, you're not leaving. So now he looks like the savage. You know what I mean? So like now I'm packing my stuff and he's like, you're not going. So the cops are going, I see where the issue is, Like, I'm the good girl packing the bags. But I started
He's not letting me leave.
Meanwhile, I started the whole fight. Wow. That's wild. Anyway, so I'm packing my whole bags. He's like, she's not leaving. And he's like, sir, I'm going to need you to stop to stop influencing her. Like, she's going to go. And I'm like, I'm going. In the end, we ended up settling it and I didn't end up going. And we were like, and he was like, I'm sorry if this happens again, like it's going to be a big issue. It's up to you if you stay. But if we have to come back here again, like, listen, we're in another country now. Like, so they ended up leaving. And then we made up and everything was good. Because after a fight, it's almost like you go through a honeymoon stage again. There's like that period where you're like, I'm really going to try and work on this. You're going to work on your shit. I'm going to work on my shit. Like, we're really our best selves for like, what is it? 2 minutes? 2 minutes? And then with my sense of humor, like after that, when we were fighting the rest of the trip, like I would make jokes, like, don't fuck with me. I'm going to call the cops. And he would be like, literally don't talk like that. Like, and I'm like, I'm just kidding. He's like, no, don't even fucking kid like that. Like, it was fucking unnecessary what you did. And what was aggravating for him, which I totally understand, is like it kind of goes on the record. So like nobody wants the grandmother finding out that like the cops came on December 15th at 9:30 at night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just embarrassing. And the worst part is like, who's going down after the condo the next day to face the music? Because I don't want to.
And all the lobby people are going,
oh, the person working at the front desk, like, now I have to walk down. I'm with my bathing suit. I love my boyfriend, acting like nothing happened. Like, honestly, we were going down. My boyfriend was like, honestly, I don't know why you called it. I'm so embarrassed to even go. I'm embarrassed to go down. I don't even want to go down. I'm like, I agree. I literally put up my glasses. I didn't even say hi in the morning. I just literally looked.
1,000,000%.
I'm like, guys, I'm in a toxic relationship. I'm just going to walk to the right. Just don't even look. But tell me you know what I mean. Like, it's fucking awkward.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
I just, like, walked away. Like, I'm just like, I know, guys. I'm aware. Fuck. And you know everyone in the building knows. There's not that many. Anyway.
And old people, they love to chat. They love the gossip. They haven't heard that type of fire, literally.
They're living for it. Even, like, having, like, a penthouse that just opens up, it's like, our place was a mess. Even before the chocolate Maltesers were being fucking thrown around. Like, I had, like, you know what I mean? It's very invasive. It's like, excuse me? You should be, like, at least in the elevator, turn the other way. You shouldn't be allowed to look.
Give me a 3-second rule at least.
What the fuck?
The worst part is that, like, it takes a good 2 to 3 seconds for the doors to open, but they could hear what's going on before those doors open.
Like, so the thing is, you can't actually click like 6th level and then open up. It's more just like if you're going down, you know?
Yeah.
Still. But let's say like my boyfriend be like, you're taking too long. Like I'm clicking the button. I'm like, wait, hold up. Now, like, you know, everyone's waiting for me.
No, and they all see what's making you late.
I can't.
Well, now I know what I'm not getting in my house when I'm a billionaire. Wow. I love a good toxic relation. And I know them all too
I
well.
have so many.
I have too many stories, actually.
Yeah, hopefully they don't take as long as this first one.
I actually couldn't choose when we were coming up with these stories because I have a good roster.
Same.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All of them, the funniest thing is like my most toxic relationships, like I remember what we did and like what the fight was.
Yeah.
No, like sorry, like I remember like how we fought, but I never remember what the fuck we were fighting about because it was so stupid.
Yeah.
Just like your fire emoji.
For sure.
But it's always the dumbest shit that somehow ends up being like.
I mean, in my defense, the fire emoji wasn't stupid because there was obviously other issues
Yeah.
and things I didn't trust him with.
Yeah. What's your favorite scary movie?
I'm so not scared of scary movies.
Literally, me neither. I mean, I love scary movies, but I don't actually find them scary. But you know what really does scare me?
Tell me.
When you're about to go down on a guy and you got a nice bush to work through.
Crazy. And it ain't looking like that dog. You know what I mean?
It ain't looking cute like this dog.
No. This is like well-groomed.
Well-groomed cuteness.
And how do we stay well-groomed as a guy?
We head over to Manscaped, which is the best in below-the-waist grooming for men. You need to check them out if you're going to be anywhere for Halloween or if you want to not be scary and you want to be slutty like us girls. You better be using Manscaped because it's just the best. You get a clean shave, no cutting your balls because we don't need any more blood for Halloween.
You guys can go in the shower and handle your business there because it's waterproof. So that mess you guys normally leave when you're like, you know, in the bathroom, well, that's no longer an issue.
Exactly. So that being said, we are giving you a very special discount code.
Guys, go to Manscaped and use our discount code ChemicalX at checkout to receive 20% off your entire order. So anything on the website, and you'll also receive free shipping. So that's ChemicalX at checkout to receive 20% off your entire order. Say trick or treat with your new Halloweeny with Manscaped.
You know what I always say just puts me in a good mood?
What puts you in a good mood besides good music?
Don't bring music into this. I thought you were going to say apart from Milo. Some nice lighting. Some nice sexy lighting.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
If there's no sexy lighting, don't invite me over.
Don't think you're going to take my clothes off if there's not one LED light in
I
the
agree
area.
with that. You
Like-
want her to take her pants off, then you better have some sick lighting.
Yeah, and we lean more towards like the pinks, the reds, but any color will do, but like there's sexier colors than others. You know what I mean?
Yes, guys, that's why Neonific is our sponsor. The best neon signs ever. You can get them custom made, any size you want it. You can get it with different light options. You can get ones that are already custom made. You can pretty much do whatever you want.
Yeah, so use our discount code ChemicalX to receive 10% off plus free shipping at neonific.ca.
Every single girl can agree that Chuck Bass in Gossip Girl is the hottest guy.
Yep. And
Why do we say that?
Well, what does Chuck Bass and Harvey Specter have in common?
Suits, baby.
A nice fucking suit, baby.
Guys, we are working with Isotti.
Which is an Italian tailor-made brand of men's suits. So they're bespoke suits, and you can actually go on their website and get yourself fitted with their app, which you kind of like scan your body and it takes all your measurements, and then you got an amazing Italian custom-made suit for you. They're launching really soon, so go and check them out. Follow them on Instagram. Stay up to date with them because you don't want to miss when they do launch.
And the one thing I'll say about a custom suit is you can't compare it to your average like Zara suit. Like when it's custom made for you, it fits you like a glove and it looks expensive and girls just want to rip your clothes off. So,
but you better not let them rip it off because it's Isotti. Yeah, so most of the time it's like really stupid things. So every time I think of a story, I'm just like, what were we even like? What was the point of this?
yeah.
But I do come from a history of toxic relationships.
Wow.
And they had a bit of spice to my life. You know what I mean? They made me the person I am now. Now I could scream with the
Very
nice
loud.
bass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The nice melody.
I don't know if your boyfriend would agree that, you know,
The melody is very nice.
yeah.
So
He's like, now I know why she screams so much.
right, she had practice. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You like them experienced, but maybe not experienced in this way.
No.
Maybe not.
Nobody wants an experienced screamer.
But you know what I realized actually, like in the relationship, like I find in the past I was always more like passive about, like I find like the most toxic things actually come when you like love the person the most. I can't explain, like,
whoa, that's toxic.
no, that's not what I mean. I mean, like, now it's like I'm in my relationship and it's like obviously we love each other so much and it's like so real that like when I'm mad, I'm like really deeply mad or like deeply hurt. Whereas in the past, like things would happen and I would just be like, this is so stupid. And then, like, I didn't care enough about the relationship to like create this whole, like, obviously we fought and obviously it was toxic, but it wasn't like to the extent where it was deep because I didn't give a fuck. Like if he would do something so fucked up, I would literally walk out and be like, okay, whatever, it's over, because it wasn't that deep of a relationship.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it was really,
it's because you also want the best for this person while being with them too, right?
Yeah.
So there's like emotions involved too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just think like the less deep you are in a relationship, like the deeper you are in a relationship, the easier it is to kind of get into these like toxic behaviors. I feel like, because you're willing to take more from a person as well. Like, whereas when you're like not so in love, like somebody does one millisecond step to toxic, you're like, bye. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you're also toxic about it because you don't give a fuck.
Yes, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're less likely to stand up with the behavior if you're not even that into the guy, you know? But anyway, so I remember one time I went for dinner with my ex-boyfriend and my cousin, my boyfriend at the time, and we're having dinner, okay? And I was like so excited because we're having tacos, and you know me, taco girl, like I'm in my element when it's taco time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like super ready to be having these tacos. It's a new place. I Googled it. It's Tuesdays, like it's a vibe. And he was a very type of guy where like he would just be in a bad mood
just because.
Yeah, just because, and I wouldn't know why. And that's like the worst thing to deal with, because if you say like what's wrong, it's very like, what the fuck, you know what I mean?
But you
like,
also always have to pay attention to them.
you have to pay attention that they're in a bad mood, but you're like over their bad mood. Anyway, so he's in one of those moods when we're going to my amazing taco place, and I'm like, I don't give a
Bitch,
fuck.
don't kill my vibe.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I'm here for these tacos. And I'm with my cousin, and he's in like his sour mood, but I don't care. When people are like that, it's like, I don't care. So like, you could be mad on your own, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like obviously talking with my cousin, whatever. And he's like grumpy, and I'm like, what's wrong? And he's like, nothing. And I'm just like, okay. And me and my cousin were laughing, we're talking together. He gets up and I'm like, okay, he's going to the bathroom, like whatever. Okay. Then I start hearing like, you know, a car, and he had like a car that was loud, like a distinct
Mustang
car. Yeah. A distinct car. And I'm there and I hear the car speeding up. Vroom! And I'm like, I just scared me a little. And I'm like, no. I'm like, and I turn to my cousin. I'm like, did he just leave?
No.
Here? It's very like, babe, you gonna drive me home then?
But like, that's hilarious because I could only imagine being in that spot when you hear like, you just hear the Mustang thinking off. You're like, well, it actually can't be anybody else because I don't know who the fuck else has that car.
But it's a very like, am I supposed to chase you?
And normally a guy will have to like rev his engine a little bit for you to know like I'm pissed and I'm walking away and I'm leaving. But like the Mustang, it did it on its own.
I think just the funniest thing was it wasn't even like a moment of like, fuck it, I'm leaving. It was very like he left on his own terms, and he didn't even give me the chance to stop him because I wasn't gonna stop him, but he didn't give me the chance to stop him, so he was more pissed because I didn't stop him, but I didn't know he was leaving. Anyways, it was the funniest thing it was very like, I'm not even mad, like you're
a loser.
He got angry, didn't tell me why he was angry, and angry enough to leave. I was just like, okay.
No.
Like, bye.
What?
Anyways, it was so, just guys, to give you a glimpse into my relationship.
I've had situations like that. The fake like I'm gonna leave, But mine were like always toxic, where it was like I throw that word around, like I'm gonna leave and I'm not staying here.
Yeah.
And then like I would always be in the position where you were at, were like, okay, like I was more like stationed.
Yeah.
And then they always come back.
They always come.
They
We did not
always come back.
though.
But I think this one here had a little too much ego.
Too much ego.
Yeah.
But
Oh
like,
my
there's
God.
something hilarious about being left somewhere. Like, there's just like you're just very like, well, do I call the Uber?
I know.
Like, are you coming back or should I Uber? Like, just let me know because I have no ride.
That's so crazy. The
It's very like, Jess, I hope you didn't mind, but I kind of need a ride.
and she's there like, what just happened?
Yeah, she's like, what did I get involved? Like, I came for tacos. I didn't come to start being Uber. Like,
But like, you didn't even go through the vibe of the fight, so it's even weirder.
everybody's just confused. You know what I
Everyone's
mean?
like, and did you call him after to be like, where are you?
I think I texted and said, "What the? Did you just leave?" Like, but what do you?
Because you
say
look
to
like
that?
an idiot.
What do you say to that?
Do you think it was because you weren't paying attention to him a lot while you were there with your cousin?
So that was the reason I ended up finding out why he did that.
But it's like, get a personality and include yourself in the conversation.
But I was like, you were in a bad mood. Like, why would I talk to you if you're in a bad mood? Like, if you wanted to be included, just be fun. You know, it's simple.
Wow.
Anyway, so yeah, I found out that was the reason, but I was just like, bye.
Yeah.
But it's not the first time that he would like do things, like he would just like leave me. Like, he very often, but the thing that was hilarious is that it wasn't like I'm saying, like, I'm the type to say like, I'm leaving, but like, I want you to say,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
stay.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm saying it so that you say stay, but he's disappearing in the back.
That's weird.
But then letting me know he left. But it's very like,
because of the car. Yeah. It's always because of the same common denominator, that fucking car. Now we know why he bought it. Fuck, I don't see everyone saying I want a Mustang, but I get it now.
he needed
It
to
goes
let
with
me
his
know.
toxic traits. He's like, I don't let people know I leave. I leave and they know. They just know.
They know.
So I've always been in situations like I was saying where I've always been more stationed. But this one time, so I had bought my ex-boyfriend like an Apple Watch. And I remember this was like not super late in our relationship, but I remember like everything basically his iCloud connected to his Apple Watch. And I don't know for what reason. I mean, I'm not going to say that I fell and I landed on it and I didn't mean to, because guys, I'm going to be honest on this. I went through the Apple Watch.
I needed to know the time, but then
I
it
pulled
slipped
the whole
into
like, I think I want to get one for myself now that I got it for you. Like, we can have matching ones.
Ew, toxic.
His password was the same one on his phone, so I went right through the Apple Watch. I think I went in it while he was at the depanneur across the street, so I didn't have much time.
Nothing scarier, eh? And those
Oh, it's scary, but we love living on a little, adrenaline. And I'm going through, and for some reason, obviously his pictures are attached to the Apple Watch, like his whole camera roll. But when I went on his camera roll, it was like 2016 pictures,
Yeah.
And like everything is in mini, but like when I just like zoomed it in, they became like clearer. And I saw pictures of like him like FaceTime, like sexting girls. Like I've seen like girls like pussies and like all this
FaceTime.
shit on the Apple Watch. So at this point
But it's very like.
I'm like,
how
did
much
I?
can you zoom
Because
in
I'm
on
like,
the
did I
little-
just see that? And I'm like, who are these girls?
But it's
So now I'm like,
2016.
wow. I don't care if it's 2016. What is that doing on your phone?
I don't care if I wasn't
And I
born
get
yet.
it. And I get it. Like every guy before they're dating somebody or whatever, they could have that on their phone. I get it. No guy deletes it. Let's be real. It's there. I have shit on my phone too that like I never deleted. So I know like I'll never allow you to go through mine because you'll probably find some stuff too. I get it.
Yeah.
But like I also didn't ask to see this just because I went on your, Apple Watch. Like you did this to me. So
And you did this to me in small.
when he got back, I was like, I think I reached the stage where I didn't even say I tripped, fell, and all of a sudden the Apple Watch opened. Like, no. Like, we're just going to get straight through this. What is this? And I don't know why I was so mad about it. Like, I don't actually have a reason and couldn't actually be mad, but I was mad.
Yeah.
I think it's because I didn't want to see that and I saw it and I was just like, ew, you're disgusting.
Yeah.
So he didn't act on that because it was like, well, you put yourself in that situation. You went, like, I'm actually should be mad at you, but I'm not. And now you're freaking out on me. And this whole fight happened. And I was just like freaking out. And then I did the whole your ex and I I left, but I let him know I was leaving. And I'm yelling at him and he's just like not reacting, which is making me look like I have no reason to be mad. But I'm trying. But I'm fighting alone. And there's nothing worse than fighting alone. Then I take off. He doesn't chase me like he normally does because he's right in the situation. Doesn't chase me, nothing. I leave. Now I'm driving home and I'm like, at some point he's going to call me like he normally does or, you know, like our normal fights. He's not calling me. He's not anything. Now I'm calling my friends. I'm like, is this right? And nobody's agreeing with me. And I'm like, wow, I actually have to put my pride aside and be like, I'm sorry, I'm coming back. No. I showed up back there and I'm like, look, I'm sorry, but I don't think it's right. Like, it's just like,
how do you explain why is I went through your Apple Watch just the funniest thing
it's
that's
hilarious.
ever existed? That's like I went through your Fitbit. I saw your heart rate.
I agree. I also think there's like a certain amount of time that a guy could have an Apple Watch on. Like, if you have it on for dinner, take it off. Like, I don't want to have sex with somebody who's wearing an Apple Watch at dinner.
I don't need to have, no.
Like, I'm sorry, no.
Honestly, Apple Watch in general, not really my type.
Okay, but like, if you want it, whatever, like, you want it for during the day, like, fine.
Yeah, you want it for running.
But like, I'm not having sex with somebody who has an Apple Watch on. I'm not eating dinner with somebody who has an Apple Watch on. Take it off.
Yeah.
You're not counting your calories while you're having sex or while you're eating. Take it off.
I mean, sex is a pretty good workout.
I don't care. Take it off. I'm not getting wet if you have an Apple Watch on.
Honestly, I just thought of the funniest story, and I don't think I said this, but hilarious. Recently, my boyfriend and I, and you know, if you guys are from Montreal, maybe we have some witnesses listening. My boyfriend and I were publicly fighting outside at 3 a.m., you know, our time. After the club, drunk, you know, the best fights, right? Anyways, it's in front of like a club. There's people outside because it's 3 a.m. and we're like fighting, and I'm like chasing him, and he's like yelling at me, and then and then this guy on the street goes, stop, don't yell at her, she's beautiful, okay? To my boyfriend who's ready to kill me, okay?
He's like, she's not that hot right now.
Let's go. But it was the funniest. I couldn't hold it. Like, no matter how angry I was, I couldn't.
Yeah.
He goes, stop, don't yell at her, she's beautiful. He turns around. Beauty doesn't mean anything. He starts, and I'm like, okay, stop. And the guy goes, and he walks away, okay? We get into a whole scrap, and I'm crying laughing because there's nothing funnier and like that says I'm in the right, even though you don't know the situation, than somebody saying, she's so pretty. Like, it's just the most hilarious timing. So he leaves, he walks down the street, and I'm calling my Uber, okay? The same guy and his boyfriend, because he was gay, I guess, I didn't know at the time, when he first said it, right? He comes later and he goes, babe, why don't you come to an after party with us?
Like, you don't need this kind of shit in your life.
He's like, come, fuck it, come. I'm like, listen, I love you and thank you so much. I wish I could have paid you for what you did in this situation.
Literally.
But like, I'm gonna have to go. Like, you did enough tonight, but thank you. Yeah. Like, nothing says I'm right, like that type of...
Oh my God.
There was no better timing in the world than that happening.
Like, that's so good.
You can't keep fighting after that happens.
Oh my God. And you know what it is? I think the girls do have a little bit of the upper hand when it comes to fighting, because I feel like a lot of people will sympathize a lot more with a woman. And I feel like that's where we kind of like, you know what I mean? We could be so in the wrong and we're still going to be taken like, is she okay? No one really says like, is the guy okay? It's like... Which is kind of fucked up if you really think about it. 1,000,000%
fucked up. And I think it goes into like why people don't take like abusive relationships seriously when it's like the other like opposite way. Like when it's like a girl being abusive to a guy. Like I actually had a close friend of mine who was like in an abusive relationship with a girl. Like she would literally like beat him up. And he could have like for sure been stronger than her, but like he wasn't physical, he wasn't gonna restrain her, he wasn't gonna hit her back, and like she would literally like punch him in the face and give him a black eye, and he was like, what the fuck, you know what I mean?
It's because really the thing is the Rihanna Chris Brown story, for example, you know, like no one's ever gonna forget the fact that Chris Brown beat up Rihanna, but like I'm not saying that Chris Brown had any right to do it, but like I'm sure Rihanna was a tough girl. I'm sure she was beating him up too. I'm not saying Chris Brown had no right, but
1,000,000%.
I'm sure that Rihanna
Yeah,
was beating the fuck out of him too.
There's definitely like a double standard there for sure. But it also goes in within like, obviously women are way more likely to be like victims of abuse. And like, obviously we can defend ourselves, like, especially if we're someone who's stronger than us and stuff. But anyways,
I got in a fight once with my ex-boyfriend, and it was in a public setting also. And whatever, long story short, we're literally fighting, but I also had a friend with me. It's always the worst when you're just you and your boyfriend. It's one story, you know, you deal with it and you keep it inside. But like when somebody else witnesses it, like there's a lot more of like explaining to do. It's, you know, that they're looking at you differently. There's so much, and that's why like I hate when it would always happen when people were around, because I would like to like not exclude it, but
it's just
I like to just handle it and like not tell anyone. But like when people would witness it, it's like, fuck,
you can't like hide.
You can't hide it. And like I've had those also happen, you know. And one of them happened when I had a friend, one of my guy friends was there and was like watching it all from the streets. And like girls were passing and they're like, babe, are you okay? Because like people saw, but it's so embarrassing. It's fucking embarrassing.
There's nothing more embarrassing than fighting in front of
glasses,
people.
like a bunch of shit. And I'm just like, this is so ratchet.
Speaking like on the same topic of people leaving, there was another hilarious, honestly all my fights were hilarious, like just so funny. It was my birthday dinner, and it was like all my friends, you were there, all my friends were there. We were like 10 people having dinner for my birthday. It was like just like my close friends, you know. So we're at a restaurant, and it's like a pretty expensive restaurant, like it's like a nice high-end restaurant. And like when you're going to like a birthday of like multiple people, like if we're all there, it's like we kind of all know that we're gonna like pay for our plate, and it's like we're not expecting somebody to like pay, like it's not like, you know what I mean? It was a very like, we're all friends, we're all gonna pay our own bill.
And we were also a lot younger too.
Yeah, we were like, I think I just turned 19, so it's we were not in the position to be saying it's on me, you know. So we're having dinner, and my ex-boyfriend goes into like quiet modes, and I'm like, okay, something's off here, whatever.
And it's like, fuck off, it's my birthday. You're gonna do this on my birthday too? Yeah.
Honestly, I think one of like the things that was the most toxic, and I don't even think that he did this in a way intentionally, but every single like big event was like ruined for me. Like my birthday, New Year's, Christmas, like Easter, like every single event of like something was always ruined.
Do you think it was because it was something you were excited about?
I think it was just more because like the attention wasn't on him. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't fixated on him, and there was like stuff going on, like my birthday, like I'm getting attention from other people, like I'm feeling myself. And I think he just, when he wasn't getting the attention, like that's when he would like lash out more in a sense, you know? Oof. Anyways, so that's a whole nother story for another day. But so yeah, so he starts getting quiet, and I'm over it because I'm like, it's my fucking birthday, like leave me alone, I'm not about to fight tonight.
Yeah.
And then he leaves. He gets up from the table. I see him walk away, but he was a smoker, so that's why even when he had left the other time,
you thought he was just going and smoke.
I was never like, why the fuck is he leaving? Like I'm just like, oh, he's going to have a cig. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
a cig.
Ew.
Bro, you got a cig for me?
Ew.
Anyway, so he goes outside. I'm like, okay, no big deal, you know. And then, but we were like leaving at this point. So I was like, okay, like I call the waiter over to bring us the bill. And he's like, oh, like it was already taken care of. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, like that guy paid for the bill, like your boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what?
And we were like a lot of people.
Yeah, we were like 10 people. Like the bill had to be like $600 something. You know what I mean?
More.
Yeah. And I was like,
a lot more.
What do you mean he paid for the bill? Like it was not the type of situation where like I didn't even want him to do that, because I was like, why are you doing this? Like it was very weird. Like nobody was like, I can't explain, nobody was like grateful. It was very like, why'd you do that? Like what the fuck? Yeah. But also he was nowhere to be found. So he's like, no, he paid the bill. So I'm like, okay, like
where is
thanks,
he?
I guess.
And we all want to say thank you at this point, but he's not there.
Exactly. So all my friends are awkward because they're like, I'm like, I basically tell them, oh, my boyfriend paid the bill. And they're like, oh, like, thanks. Where is he? Like, we want to say thank you. Like, he didn't have to do that. But he's nowhere to be found. And then I call him and I'm like, what the? And my initial reaction was like, why'd you pay the bill? And he's like, whoa, gives me this whole guilt trip of why he paid the bill.
But then he was also saying we're like ungrateful and we didn't say thank you, but he wasn't there.
But he was gone. So it was very like, how did I, like, it wasn't like a nice, like, oh my God, thank you, like a surprise. Like, it was very like paid the bill, but like in a mean way.
But bitter about it.
And I was like, what the fuck? And I was so confused. And he was super pissed at me after because he paid the bill and I wasn't grateful enough and my friends weren't grateful, but I was like, you left. Like, you weren't
it was
there.
So weird.
Yeah, and then we went to the club after and he was pissed the whole night. And it was just very like, I'm over it. Like,
him
and his car, they got along real well.
No. It was so weird.
It was just the awkwardest, like, somebody who wanted to do something nice, but in the worst execution ever.
But, like, it's so weird because normally when you do a gesture like that, not that you want the thank you, but you want to be like, big guys, like, it's handled. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you're paying. Do you want to at least get a thank you?
Like I have no option to say thank you. You're already pissed at me. Like,
but, like, weird. I think it's different also when, like, somebody's paying the bill and, like, you know they're in a state where like they can handle it and stuff. I think like for him, he was still in a state where like nobody was expecting him. Like he had his bills to pay. It wasn't like we're going out with a rich dude where like we felt bad.
It was very like, what the fuck? Like if it would be like if I would pay our whole bill, like everybody would be like, what the fuck? Like no. Anyways, it was so weird. It was and all of our fights were like weird. Like, why are you mad? It was a really exhausting relationship.
I'm sure because I feel like you're babying somebody a lot when you're like, okay, fine, like I have to like really like sit down and talk about this, like, and you could normally never really fully agree, but you're just doing it to do it
to. But I was very strong-headed, and this is why we did not last and we were not meant for each other, because I was very like, no, like this is wrong. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to stand
And somebody like that who wants the pity.
We can't be, it doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like, we were fighting, guys, every time we saw each other. But he was just very like the type of person where if you're not showing me like full-time attention, like I'm pissed. And I was like, well, if you want it, then I'm not going to do it.
Whenever you get in a relationship, it's never fully how it is at the beginning where it's like, you know, you're like, yes, you're in love and yes, but it's okay for, you know, you not to text every second of the day and like for you to just like see each other later on. I think it's part of like being in a relationship and growing up and like being comfortable with somebody, you know?
I mean, it wasn't one-on-one. Like, it wasn't like my attention during the day. It was more like when there was other people around, like he had to be.
That's like jealousy though.
Yeah, no, 1,000,000% it stemmed from jealousy. Like everything in the relationship was jealousy based for sure. But I think it's interesting. I was about to say cool, but I think it was very like shocking to me because my relationship prior to this one was like the total opposite. Zero jealousy, like zero anything. So everything for me was very shocking. Like it was very like, wait, why
and I remember
you
even told me like the idea of somebody even like wanting to check your phone in your last one was never even a thing, where you got into this one, it was completely opposite. But I think it's good that you did both relationships because then you get to see that, okay, I know I've been with somebody who's not like that. Yeah. And he was really not jealous at all. And you wanted a little bit of spice. Then you got way too much spice.
Said, dial it back there, buddy.
Yeah.
But I think it was good because my first relationship, even though like we said, it was like almost missing that spice, and that's called being, you know, ungrateful, but it was missing like a little bit of
jealousy. It's important though for somebody to get jealous in a way where it's just showing like they love you and like and they're a little bit possessive over you in a way where it's normal and not unhealthy.
I think like also when somebody's not showing jealousy, and I think this was the thing with him, is he wasn't comfortable showing his feelings. So he always pretended like everything was okay. But like that's not a healthy relationship either. Like if you're always...
You have to talk about it.
You know what I mean? Like if you're always pretending like nothing's wrong, it doesn't mean that nothing's wrong. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make us any better of a relationship. Yeah. But yeah, so anyways, I think it was really good because I was able to see like wait, like this is not normal. I think if my first relationship would have been something like that, I would have set the standard of like, okay, it's normal to go through phones, it's normal to be this jealous, it's normal to fight like this. But I didn't come from that, so I was able to say, like, I think
you're lucky in that sense that you had both experiences, because I feel like a lot of people can also, when you're young and easy to manipulate, you could end up in a toxic relationship earlier on in your life. And then, especially if like you're in a toxic relationship as your first one, I almost think like it's really hard to get out of that state, because I feel like in your head, love means like, you know, all jealousy and all these things. Like, to you, that's actually what's like hyping you up in your relationship. And then when you actually get in a normal relationship where in times it could be boring, your mind gets fogged up and you start to think like the relationship is not good. Yeah. When it's actually the total opposite.
1,000,000%.
Because it tricks you, because you're not getting those excitements, because
that you're used to, like that was like your base that you were taught. But I think also like a lot of people's first relationships are toxic because when you're younger, I feel like you're
more impressionable too.
More impressionable, but also like when we're young, like it is like, you think high school, like gossipy, like this, that, like it's very that style of thing. You're very immature, and like when you're immature, you're toxic. Like, I'm sorry, like immature people tend to be toxic because you don't understand like the deeper meaning of relationships. You don't understand the deeper meaning of communication. So a lot of times like the first relationship tends to be actually toxic, and then it's like, then you start looking for that in every relationship, and that's where it starts going like downhill, because then when you're 28 and you're still getting into these like toxic 18-year-old style relationships, like that's not good. Anyway, I'm not saying that everybody should go through a toxic relationship, but I think like I did learn like
for sure
a lot. And I think one of the things that taught me the most is like, even though it was wrong, but like to be so like to compromise so much, even though it's not something you want to do, like to force yourself to hear somebody's side. Like, I think the hardest time to do that is when somebody doesn't make sense, like when somebody's being crazy, like physically you almost can't be like, okay, I'm sorry, but like in a toxic relationship sometimes you have no choice but to just say okay, I'm sorry for what I did. But it really makes you like be able to process other people's feelings and think, okay, maybe this was seen like this and that. And anyway,
for me right now in my life, it's hard to picture somebody who's not toxic, because I think it's a lot about what I know, and I think I'm actually like 50% of the problem too. So I don't think it's like I could blame it on somebody else. I'm just wondering how I'm going to be in my next relationship, because I'm actually going to have to work on myself to not be toxic also.
I mean, you really need to like start a blank slate. Like, I'll always remember the first time that my ex-boyfriend went through my phone, which is honestly another toxic story. We were just watching a movie, and then he went to the bathroom, and then all of a sudden I was like, where's my phone? And then he came back and threw it at me, and I was like, I didn't even get like an option here. Like, I didn't even get to fight about this. And like, I was so confused as to why he even went through my phone. I was like,
because you gave him no reason to
and I was
even
also
not
like,
trust
honestly, you could have asked. Like, I was like, if you were like, you literally could have asked. And then he was pissed at me, but because he found nothing, and he's like, you probably deleted it anyway. So I'm like, okay.
It's because, like I said, when somebody's trying to find something,
you can never win.
You could never win.
They have to, you know, whatever it is, they're going to be pissed about something. But I think like I was so shocked by that. And I think that like creates like a okayness to you, because then after that it's like, bitch, you went through my phone, open up, what's your password? You know what I mean? Like,
it's always like that.
It's like, I'm gonna follow in your footsteps.
And in that relationship, did you feel like at some point he's asking for all these things because he might be doing shady shit?
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Like, I think when somebody is so like, for example, like, just to say, like, he always had this one thing about this guy that I worked with. And the guy was like, would always like flirt with me and stuff, but like he was irrelevant. Like I couldn't even explain to you how irrelevant he was. He would just like write like shit, and I would always like shut down his advances. But I worked with him. Like it's not somebody I could just block and like I was like, no, like I'm honestly like I get it, you're uncomfortable, but like I'm not gonna block this person that I have to work with every day. Like, but just to say, he had this thing about this guy that I worked with, and then I always had a feeling like if there was somebody at work that he would have done something with, it would be with somebody at work. So like that's just showing like he takes out like, and it's always like that. Somebody takes out their insecurities based off what they're doing.
Projecting.
You know what I mean? Like they're like, oh, well, I might be into somebody from work, so you must be also, because work is where we're not involved in each other's lives and stuff.
Oh my God.
So there was a lot of like things that you only see later, like patterns.
And I think what a lot of people don't realize too is like you might have not even considered this guy like who is working with you, but when somebody projects something, you're almost creating it. And I know it's crazy, but like then you really start to think like, wait, what is he seeing in me and him? Yeah. Could there actually be something there? It sounds crazy.
Do I like him?
No, but it sounds crazy. But then you have to imagine it because you're trying to see it from his point of view.
Yeah.
So you're actually worse doing something like that because you're creating something.
You're making something that was non-existent, you know? Yeah. It's like when somebody says like you probably thought about fucking him, and it's like no, but now that you said I'm thinking about fucking him. Honestly, I could go on for the rest of my life, toxic stories. Like, I know. I will say that like I don't have any sort of regrets. I think it could really come off as me talking shit about the situation and me like, haha, this was so. And like, don't get me wrong, when you're in a toxic relationship, it's absolutely becomes both sides of the like we were not meant for each other, but I wouldn't have changed it because it you learned so much. And I think I'm actually so like relationship and emotionally intelligent because of this relationship, because or else I would have been actually ignorant to these things. Like I would have never had to face these problems or like these discussions these things.
I think even like being toxic, let's say it's like one-sided, it doesn't stay one-sided for long because when somebody's always pointing the gun at you, at some point you open up your gun too, and then it just becomes this malicious like cycle where it's like, show me your phone. Everything starts to be both ways. So then you lose track of like who really started it, because now it's always like who's gonna load the gun, who's gonna shoot.
I was even reading a thing, even in like abusive relationships, like sometimes the person that's the victim will feel also like they're abusive because they're like mirroring the behavior, where it's like if somebody throws a fucking somebody throws a plate at you, your initial reaction is to throw the plate back. Like what the fuck, like, you know what I mean? And it's like they're causing that reaction, whereas if they wouldn't have initially done that, you probably wouldn't do that. But people who are in an abusive relationship and mirror to...
So what you're saying, let's say, is for me, let's say I meet a guy now and he's not toxic. Chances are I probably won't have those toxic traits too.
Or you are toxic and you bring it out in him.
Right. So what I have to do is find somebody who's not toxic in order to balance out.
And also actively try not to be toxic.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like very often...
So should I change my bio to looking for somebody who's not toxic? No drama, please.
Keep swiping if you're a gossiper. No toxic zone only.
Oh my God. I have so many stories. I remember even one time we were fighting. I can't even remember for what. There's just so many stories, but I pulled the whole, I'm packing my bag, I'm leaving. And I don't know if it was me subconsciously never leaving enough clothes to be like, I live here now. So I always had enough that fit in like 2 bags or like a luggage and then like a carry-on kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was never like too much stuff because I was always waiting for the next fight, the next argument.
Yeah.
Where like I'd have to face him and I'd have to pick up my stuff. Like, like literally toxic. You're just waiting on the next bomb to happen.
Yeah.
And what annoyed me is every time we would fight and I'd be like, that's it, I can't do it anymore. And I would like call Mercy and I'd be like, I can't. And I'd pack my stuff. It was always like, you're not packing, you're not leaving. So every time I'd pack, he would unpack my stuff. Yeah. So it was like this vicious, like, I'm packing to unpack. Like, on a vacation I ain't going on. You know what I mean? Like,
but you know what? It creates this thing where you feel like you need to threaten for him to chase you.
And it was always like, why can't we talk about it? Like, why do you have to? I'm like, because you don't listen. And the only time you actually react is when I do something like that, which is probably on my part not healthy either. You know what I mean? Like, Alessia, don't you learn, bitch? Don't leave your shit there. He's just gonna unpack it. And then it got to the point where, like, that wasn't enough, you know? Then it was like, take it to next levels. And then what was next level? Throwing it over the balcony. I'm screaming at him. I'm like, this is expensive. Someone's gonna steal it now. Rushing down to go get it. And then in the end, he's helping me clean up the fucking stuff he threw down. And then
That's me.
And then we're grabbing it together, and that's how we're bonding until the next day we throw it down again.
And that's how we're bonding.
Like, you grab the shoe, I'll grab the other one. Like, why? You should be picking this all up on your own. You threw it, you know? Yeah, but you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. And it's like, who's wrong? Me for, like, trying to pack and leave, or him for trying to work on things and not make me want... It's such a fucking cycle.
Crazy.
Don't fucking throw my shit over the balcony, though. Like, I get it.
I get it. Don't be walking underneath that balcony, or, you know.
But I remember even once, like, he broke my whole makeup case. I was fucking... That's something, like, don't fuck with.
Yeah.
You broke my makeup case. Like, now, if I had to leave you and find another man's, like, I don't even have the
mascara.
Goods. I don't have the goods to even do that.
Now it's like, but you took away my beauty? Like,
to prove to you that I could get better when I can now because you destroyed all my chances? Like,
and I'm not going to Sephora and rebuying
oh
this.
my
all.
God. Like, makeup, like, don't fuck with. Sorry. Throw all my clothes down. Like,
yeah.
No.
There's limits to things. Like, there's some things I don't care about, but other things it's like, you took my heart and you broke it.
Yeah.
By doing that. Sir, why are you biting me?
Anyway, guys, we have so many stories, but
hopefully you guys live through us and our toxic relationships and don't experience them for yourself. But if you have, I'm sure you could relate to these stories.
And bottom line is, don't get yourself a Mustang. And if you do, be somebody who talks about your feelings.
Be good at communication if you're gonna drive.
I have a question for you now. Did you like him or his car? What made you stay?
Definitely wasn't the car. I'm not a Mustang type of girl.
I agree.
Especially with the fucking PTSD of hearing it drive away.
Oh.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening. Hope you learned something. Milo's biting me.
Have a great day. Have a great day. Yeah. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And